So I journal every day, and today I hit journal number 700, right? And I really was struck by how different it felt from every other day that I've journaled. Especially those big milestone days, you know, when you're doing something every day, you like to imagine like, oh, it's going to be crazy when I'm on day 100, 200, 300 of this thing. And, you know, I can't remember hitting journal number 1, 2, 3, or 400. I hit journal 500 while I was relaxing on a beach, so I didn't feel like I earned it. I don't remember hitting journal number 600. And today, perhaps I'll remember hitting number 700 because I'm here talking about it. But even outside of that, it did feel special. And I think part of the reason it felt special is because, one, because I'm doing this, and, well, mainly because I'm doing this, this painting every day thing, and it really exacerbated in my mind just how beneficial that habit of daily journaling has been to me. I started journaling 700 days ago, although I should actually, just for clarity's sake here, I did twice now kind of lose my place in my journal. Once was when I was backpacking around Europe, and then the second time was just this last Christmas because of the season. So I could be at journal, realistically I should be at like 720 or something like that, let's say. But I know today I hit 700, so we're gonna call it that. And I think I was struck by it because it really made me, since it's like a huge number, far past what I ever expected. You know what I mean? That it's so close to 1,000. Like, I feel like 600, you feel like you're still close to 500, and 700 still feels, it is closer to 500, but it feels closer to 1,000, right? And I think maybe that's why it felt so different today. I was like, wow. Like, it really, it was like a sense of perspective, you know? And I've spoken about this before, but one of the main benefits I think of journaling is that perspective of like being able to go, it's been 700 days since I started this. And then next time that you have to commit to something that's going to take you, you know, 1, 2, 3, 400, 500 days, you'll go, oh, I journaled for you know, this, how many 100 days? Like, I know I can do something for hundreds of days at a time. It's different then, you know? Whereas, and I'm speaking for myself mainly. I mean, I would think that this is how it could work for a lot of the people watching this too, but I am mainly speaking for myself. In that, like, I know there's a lot of things in my life that I would not have thought I could do if I didn't journal. I probably wouldn't, when I first came up with the idea for this, to paint every day in 2025, 2025 we're in. I don't know why I was about to say 2024, but when I first came up with that idea, like, I would have said no if I didn't have the knowledge of like, oh, like I did that every day. How much harder can it be to do this every day? You know? And having something like that is really important because, and I feel like I'm probably going to come off as a broken record to a lot of you that have seen many Paint&Talks, but as I think maybe either I'm really dumb or as people, we can't really comprehend large numbers of things. You know, we can't comprehend like, oh, it's been 500 days since I was married. We either think in terms of years or we think in terms of weeks, months, and that's kind of inconvenient, right? Because the days are what really matter more than any of those things. More than any other measurement of time, the days is what's going to define where you get and how long it takes you to get there. So I think it's great to have something that says like, it's been X hundred number of days since I've done this because, well, it just shows you how much you're capable of if you just stay consistent with something. And I think that's why one of the reasons journaling's so great. But even past that, and one of the reasons I want to really come here and talk about it, is because like, journaling has just served as such a rock for me. You know what I mean? Because there are hobbies and habits that I have that I've held up for years and years now. You know, on a similar note, I've drawn every day for the last probably way longer than I've journaled every day, if we're being honest. I draw every day, and I don't even try and keep up a streak with it. I just do, right? And that is awesome. And it's been a ton of fun, and I will draw right after this, but it didn't quite make me grow the same way that journaling has made me grow, you know? I think you grow in all art, but journaling is one of the most accessible, fastest ways to make super personal, awesome art. And that's why I think that there's so much growth to be had in it. I make it kind of a point, maybe, I don't know if I'd call it a point, but I don't read back any of the journals, or at least I haven't yet. Sometimes when I need a reminder of just how far I've come, I'll take out a random one and flip to a random page, and just read that page to be like, where was I 300 days ago? And that's the funny part about this, actually, too, that I think is interesting. 700 days is like, I think, yeah, that's less than 2 years. But it feels so much longer because, I don't know, I guess 700 is just a bigger number than 2, right? And that's why it's so powerful, because it is personal, you know what I mean? If I look back at, I have certain drawings I can look back on and be like, this was around that period of time. Mainly I'm able to date it because of how good or bad I was at drawing at the moment, right? But I'll never know what I was thinking when I drew that. I'll never know what I was feeling. Journaling is so special because you have to confront your past feelings when you read a journal entry, you know? You can't read a journal and be like, oh, I wonder why I wrote this, because in the journal, I mean, at least the way I journal, you have to stare it in the face of like, this is what I was feeling then, this is what I was thinking that made me write this thing. Good, bad, ugly, otherwise. And I think that that's really important because, you know, you can't grow being dishonest, right? You can grow when you're trying not to grow, you know, you can grow and not think about growing for sure, but there's no way to, at least what I think, dishonestly grow. And at least I wouldn't call it growth if it is dishonest. I think growth kind of, in the sense I'm speaking about it here at least, has to be a very honest process of self-awareness, reflection, all these things. And, you know, doing that and trying to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Because I know I've seen this sentiment before, and there's a much more eloquent way to put this than what I'm saying here. Is it like you can't cut corners? You know, you can't fake it when you're growing. You have to grow in an honest way, or it's not really gonna work. And it's almost like if I came here, right, just using, because I paint every day here, and this is pretty one-to-one comparison for growth, I think you could say, right? If I were to come here every day and, you know, paint the same exact thing, I'd get really good at painting that one thing, but I couldn't fake the fact that I never learned how to actually paint anything else in this year that I did this, right? And like, you know, that'd be me BSing, you know, I'm sure, listen, the day's already come. I've done some Paint&Talk where I've just painted 3 cubes, you know? Not even cubes, just 4 panels. Like, I've BS'd a Paint&Talk here and there, but if you BS everything, you'll never get anywhere, right? Because you never did anything, really. You just kind of kept, you know, faking it. And faking it till you make it is great when it comes to things like, you know, when I come to one of these and I'm not confident, I gotta talk as if I am, because, or else it won't be, I'm not gonna get anywhere, you know, sitting here with my, you know, oh my God, I can't talk. You know, I can't get anywhere like that. And that's certainly, you know, areas like that, I think it's important to play it up a little bit. But if you fake it genuinely in areas that you want to grow personally, you're gonna end up nowhere. And I feel like I'm coming off as a little harsh, but I mean, that's just how I think it goes, you know? You can't fake development. It's not like a movie where like a character can just change out of nowhere. You can try and force it, I think, but you can't fake it. And that's why I think everyone should journal, because it's so it like demands you to be honest. It's also so great because it's like, it's a partner that doesn't ask for anything. You can come to a journal one day. You know, I encourage, by the way, if you are interested in journaling at all, to do it every day, because I think it's better that way. I think having a habit like that's great. And I mean, if you want to do it, you know, once a week, I know people do it how you want to do it, whatever fits in your life, of course. But I personally encourage daily journaling because I think it's the best. I think it's an awesome, awesome thing. And if you want to come to that journal one day, which I've done this before, and just be like, I have nothing to say today, and you say that to the journal, that's honest, you know what I mean? But then what's so great is like, if you had a friend where like every now and again when you're talking to them, you're just like, I have nothing to speak to you right now about, that friendship probably wouldn't do well, because it'd be a little weird to do that, right? But a journal you can totally do that with, because it's there for you on your own terms. And everyone needs something like that. You know, you could be the most social person in the world. You could have the most friends, you could have the best social circle. I don't care who you are, I don't care where you are. No one in your life knows you 100%. And I can guarantee that. Like, I don't think that anyone in any of our lives knows us as well as we know ourselves. But you can't know yourself in a void. Like, it's almost like a contradiction, right? Because you can't, you know, no one in your life will know you 100% as you know yourself. But you also need outside influence and a lot of times external validation or a soundboard to really understand yourself. And that makes it hard because it's either you have to give everyone a little part of you and try and develop yourself that way, which is I think how a lot of people end up doing it, or you could do it in what I perceive to be a little bit more of a whole way of journal, you know, like to make the journal your soundboard, make your journal the one person that will hear your honest thoughts 100% of the time. And it's hard, it really is. I think there's this book, Bird by Bird, by Anne Lamott. She is a writing coach. She was writing this book on how to write. I actually will say that maybe some of you have seen, I think I made a video on it. I'm not the biggest fan of the book. I think it's a little bit too, you know, the time I was reading, I was looking for a little bit more of a direct guide on how to write. It's a little bit more of a spiritual guide on how to write. And I didn't like that personally, but I do think that, I believe it might even be the opening line of the book where she says, good writing is honest writing. And I completely agree with that. But that's hard. You know, I think it's easy to hear something like that, good writing's honest writing, and go, oh, I just have to tell the truth in my writing. But like, telling the truth is so much harder than it seems, even when it is telling the truth to a blank page. Like, try to write down the deepest, darkest thing that you can think of that's like real to you, like your deepest, darkest thought. Write it down. It's not that easy. You know what I mean? It's weird because it's like no one's gonna find it. There's no consequence. There's no plus or minus to that kind of thing. But it's still so hard to write it. Why is that? Why is it so hard to write? I don't know personally, but I know it took me probably years to be able to fully write honestly. What's that one Kanye song? Bad time to mention Kanye with what just happened at the Grammys. But what's that one Kanye song? I thought about killing you today, where he goes, just say it out loud, just see how it feels. Like 100%, like that was real. And that's why Kanye's Kanye, because like no one else is saying that on a song, you know? Or maybe they are, but I haven't heard it. And that's why Kanye is awesome. No matter, despite some things. It is crazy now that like when you say you love Kanye, you have to like give it a caveat. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of upsetting now that you have to do that everywhere you go. Even though I think it's weird. This is crazy side tangent I'm about to go on. It's weird how like okay people are with Kanye after everything that's happened in the last 5 years. Like in the real world, whenever I'm talking to someone off the internet, they directly do not care about anything Kanye's done. Like they are totally just like, oh no, like he makes the best music ever. Like I've never encountered someone who's actually like, oh my God, I can't believe you would ever speak well of Kanye. Like everyone still loves him. It's weird. or at least where I'm at, everyone still loves him. I don't know, maybe this could be extremely a bad thing to say if like in, I don't know where, in like Philadelphia, they hate Kanye now. But here where I'm at, all the people I know in person, they still have very positive things to say about Kanye despite the last 2 years. Like, I think the worst I've heard anyone say about Kanye recently is just like, he's a weirdo. But like, I think people would have said that before the last 5 years even. But that's a side tangent. But what he says in that song, say the darkest thing out loud, just see how it feels. It's a cool line in the song, but it's unironically, I think, also a pretty useful exercise. Because that kind of honesty, there's being honest in the sense that I've discussed a lot in these Paint and Talks that I believe is very important and very good. The honesty that comes in terms of like, be honest with the people around you, be honest with yourself about what you want when you want it. All these things I stand by. But I think it's a whole other degree of honesty that can only be, that's genuinely not socially acceptable to say the things that you shouldn't say, that like, whether that's intrusive thoughts or whatever might come to your mind that like, you can never say out loud. To say those things, even to yourself, is crazy. It takes a lot. And that's one of the reasons I think journaling is so good, because back to what I was saying, no one will ever know you 100%, and you can have your journal know you 100%. Even you will not know yourself 100% unless you face those sides yourself, And I think a lot of this is kind of coming off as very vapid, like I'm kind of talking in very abstract terms right now. But I hope that some of you who have maybe done similar exercises or experienced these things can relate or understand this. And if you haven't, I would encourage you to do your best to, try and relate in any sense, because I think a lot of us want to, this is one of the areas where I try and be super honest with Paint and Talk, is that like a lot of us want to sit and be like, I don't have anything like that. You want to see, when you see the crazy thing happen, you want to go, there is 0% of that in me. And it's like, no, you got to face the fact that as humans, we all have 1% of that in us at least, and I think it's so honest to be able to face that head on, and that's like a sense of development that for me, honestly, one, has not even come 100%, and two, has only really, and this is something that like, is like, of course he's saying this, like has only really come to me through art a lot of the time, I've only really been able to face a lot of the negativity within myself through art. And journaling and writing is a huge area of that. One of the reasons I started journaling is because I've always wanted to write, right? Since I was very, very young, I've been writing, but like in my head. I used to go outside at 8 years old, I think it started, and I would bring a hacky sack, or not a hacky sack, the hacky sack was later. I would bring a basketball with me, and I would just stand there dribbling the ball and write and act out my own scenes to myself. And, eventually that grew into, I would bounce around a hacky sack in my hands and write, and eventually, as I've gotten older and older, this has progressed into what I do now, where I genuinely write, and I've written some things. I know some of the things I've written are actually available on the internet, which not really not my best work. I hope to be writing something that I feel I can release for everybody soon. I really want to do that. It's something I'm very interested in, just out of the passion. I think I want to eventually take on like, I gotta do certain things, obviously, making content that are like not the most artistic decisions, such as, adding Minecraft footage to shorts and reels, where like, that's not my favorite thing in the world, But I do eventually want to be able to use my platforms as just like places to post my art, you know what I mean? And writing's definitely an area that I'm gonna do soon. But that's a side tangent. The main point of that is, when I was transitioning from writing outside with my basketball and then writing inside with my hacky sack and then 2 sitting down and writing, I didn't know where to start because I was like, I've never done this before, you know? Like I've acted out scenes, I've come up with characters and things like that as, you know, just a creative kid, but I've never made it this serious before. And the area I decided to start in was journaling, because I was like, okay, maybe I can't, you know, can I find the time to sit here and write? Do I even know how to sit here and write? No, I really don't, but I want to make sure that like I am doing something, you know what I mean? I couldn't, and this is something I do in a lot of areas, and I would encourage, I mean, maybe I shouldn't encourage everyone to try it, but I know it works very well for me, is if you think there's something that makes you go like, oh no, not me, I can't do that, I don't have time, I don't have, you know, X, Y, or Z, I would encourage you to start it in the smallest way possible. And for me, when it was turning those writing sessions outside into my room, where I'd write in my head into genuine writing, the place where I started was my journal, because I was like, maybe I don't have time to write, maybe I don't know how to write, but I can sit here and I can fill a page a day of this journal and make sure that I'm getting something onto the page. And eventually that was able to transition into what I do now, where I can fully sit down and write, and I've written, you know, books and things like that, and whole lot of short stories. They're very finished, at least. I wouldn't say I've written a finished book, but I have written kind of, I guess. I don't know. That's a conversation for another day. But like, the point is, it's taken me a lot farther than not doing that, you know? And I think that eventually, whether I started that way or not, just through like having the desire, I think eventually I would have picked up writing. I think eventually I would have written no matter what way it happened. But you know, having the way of starting in that small degree definitely got me here. You know what I mean? Like, I can't guarantee that I would be here without it as much as I think I would. It did get me here, you know? And things like that are the reason I encourage everyone to journal, because we all have a little story, you know? And I don't think that, like, obviously I write in terms of like, I write fiction, I write, you know, stories that aren't real. Do you know what I mean? But like, all of us have a story to tell in our own right of our life and things like that. And that's why I think that journaling is so good, because when you can find your own story, it just makes you, like, there's an element of this that's a lot less serious too, of like, it just makes you a way cooler person. You know what I mean? I think personally, I know a lot of people I've met who I'm like who I really thought were cool, they journaled, you know? And there's like, it's something that I've never really sat down and thought about, but a lot of my favorite people genuinely do journal every day. I think there's something about reflecting on yourself that gives you a degree of self-awareness that we all need to be the best version of ourselves, you know? I certainly know when I started journaling, I needed it, you know? And it's helped me keep that self-awareness, because this has happened in a variety of Paint and Talks. I'm sure it's happened to a lot of the people watching this just in conversation too. When you're talking to someone and you say something out loud and you realize how crazy it sounds, you realize how good it sounds maybe, or how bad it sounds, or how eloquently it's worded, you make a realization about that statement that you didn't realize when you were just sitting in your head, right? That happened in a ton of Paint and Talks, usually in a very negative way, but it's also happened, you know, in real life with me, and I'm sure that's where it's happened with a lot of you guys, right? I think that that's a place where journaling is so powerful too, because that kind of self-awareness can come when you go, oh guys, what if we go bowling tonight? And then you realize, like, nobody likes bowling because that dumb ball, you know what I mean? Like, you can have realizations like those, but it's so much harder to actually have a realization about like a very serious thought that's hard to share out loud to somebody else. And that's where having a journal can really help. I mean, I've journaled and like about situations going on in my life that like were struggles or dramas or, you know, whatever things that we all go through. And like I've journaled about them and realized like, oh, I'm in the wrong here. Like I need to fix up my act. I've been 2 pages into journaling about something that was really bothering me and been like, what am I doing? Like, I just gotta call these people and talk this out, you know? And these are small moments in my life that, quite frankly, I mean, maybe my life wouldn't be radically different if they didn't happen, but I am glad they did, and they wouldn't have happened without journaling. I had a psychology teacher once, and he said that growth comes through a really painful degree of self-awareness. I don't know if that's actual psychology or if he just thinks that. But I mean, I agree, like, whether it is good one, good job. I agree with him though, that like you need a painful level of self-awareness to grow a lot of the time. And I'm talking about like real growth, not like growth in terms of like, oh, I wanted to lose a little weight and I did it. Obviously that's great, that's real growth. I'm not talking about growth in the terms of like, I read this book and I'm smarter now. That's great, that's also real growth. I'm talking about like growth in terms of like, I'm a intrinsically different person. My beliefs changed, my attitude changed, my worldview changed, the way I treat people changed. These things, they come through a lot of self-awareness, and journaling's gonna get you there. Journaling will help you self-actualize. It'll help you be the best version of yourself. And I don't mean this in the term that I am the best version of myself, or that even I am self-actualized, or that I'm all that good at all. I don't believe any of those things, but I'm a lot closer to being those things than I was 700 days ago when I started journaling, and than I would be if I never started journaling. And that's why I encourage all you, if you're watching this, start journaling every day. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna title this video something like, you know, this video is your sign to journal, or some YouTube-y thumbnail like that. And I think I've done a relatively, you know, if maybe somebody came into this video hoping like for a very linear, you should journal this way, you should start journaling like this is why you should start journaling. I don't think I laid that out very well, but I hope if you are thinking of journaling, this was still enough of a final push, and maybe you got something out of it that you didn't have before. Or if you're someone that already journals, maybe you made new realizations about your own journaling, hopefully. My main point is hopefully this wasn't useless, I think is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, this painting is done. I wanted to try and paint a sphere that's like kind of gemstone-y looking through a shifty background, right? Not bad, not the best though. So I think the background's relatively cool. I think the streakiness of it came out really good. I think the pattern works well. And I think overall the colors of the painting works well. The place where the gem, the stone, the sphere touches the black and the yellow though, is a little bit messy. What I want to do here is I want to paint, to me, what journaling feels like, which is a very fine, valuable gem that has always stayed in the middle of my life, has been a very solid rock for me that shows me new light, new perspective in the middle of a very shifty background. As life changes, life moves in every which way, knowing that every day, in the morning, in the night, maybe in the middle of the day, you will sit down and you will journal, is a great thing. And that's why I want to paint this, that's what it represents. If you want more angles or more descriptions of this painting, go check it out on the Instagram in the description below. And until next time, guys, gals, and whoa. I just can't nail this outro. Have you ever noticed this? Like, I just can't, like, it's not working. Okay, we're gonna do it. Guys, gals, and that was a weird, like, chant version of it. Okay, guys, gals, and pals, this has been Paint and Talk episode 37. I'm here every morning at 9 a.m. New York time, painting and talking with you all. Until next time.